What's going on, guys, in the works, and welcome to Operation Firestorm, or as I like to call it, the map that everyone liked to goof around on. And how's this for a starter on my first ever play on this new second assault version of Operation Firestorm? Pegging a jet with the S-Raw. Unfortunately, I don't actually get to disable. I only do like 92 damage to it or something like that, but you know, it was a moral victory. But yes, this is my first playthrough on this map. This is my first time kind of exploring it, and I thought it'd be good to sit down and look at this video because it was kind of me in awe and like looking at the little things, not really paying attention to the flow of the game, just kind of capping some points and exploring some of the different things, some of the new changes. And one of the biggest changes is the oil. That is what this map is all about now. It lives up to its name, Operation Firestorm, because there is fire everywhere, and I actually think it's pretty cool. So if you look down there, that is actually oil down in there burning. So once it blows up, those tanks blow up, it's like molten lava. If you run across any of these areas, you see I'm taking damage right there, which I think is really cool. It kind of adds a new factor to it, especially if you're a rush player, because on that first set of objectives, people like to get behind those tanks. People like to kind of pile up in there. So now you can explode those, and it's actually a tactical advantage because those people can't run down in there and hide from the tanks and just cause nuisances and stuff like that. So the fire kind of puts a stop to that, and I think that's really cool. The micro-levolution elements that are present in the second Assault DLC is actually something I really like. I was wondering what they were actually going to do with some of these maps. If you've seen Metro footage, if you've seen, Caspian footage, there's a lot of small things you can do. But I actually think Firestorm is one of the more improved maps, just because these little small things, they're fun to look at, they're fun to do. I mean, you gotta admit, blowing up these things and lighting these pits of oil on fire, it's a lot of fun, and it's just fun to look at, and it actually looks really good on the next-gen consoles. But I know a lot of guys were worried that there weren't going to be that many changes to the second Assault maps, but I mean, the changes they've made are enough to make the maps feel fresh, in my opinion, especially Firestorm, because I was never a huge Firestorm guy. I like to goof around on it and stuff like that, but it's nice to see that it's back. It's got a little bit of character now. You can see the oil pits have stopped burning, which is kind of interesting. They burn for a while, then eventually they kind of teeter out, and it's just the small details like that which makes this map, to me, feel a lot fresher, because there's a lot of areas where you can just blow up individual objects. There's a lot of new environments and stuff like that. If you notice this building I'm standing on, there's a lot of new buildings in places where there weren't really a lot of buildings, and they've actually updated them to the more recent versions of the buildings. And when I say buildings, a lot of times in Battlefield games they use the same building. So if you played on a lot of the car cam maps, all the buildings look the same. In Battlefield 4, it's no exception. These look like the buildings that are on like Rogue Transmission. They're much more wide open. I think they look better. They make more sense than the ones that were in Battlefield 3. So I am glad to see those make their way into the second Assault map pack, kind of give it a fresher, updated look, because I think those buildings play a lot better. Now, as far as destructible environments go, they pretty much have the same destructibility as like all the buildings on Zavad. You can bring down a lot of them. You can see to my right here, someone's already brought this building down. And I think the flow of this map plays a lot better now, because there are more areas to explore. There are more, areas where it's going to encourage people to go to. Because in the past, it wasn't that exciting to go to some of these outlying points on Firestorm. It was just like, oh man, it's boring going over there. There's really nothing there but a desert and a flag. Now a lot of these conquest points actually have interesting buildings and reasons to go over there. It encourages people like, hey, maybe we want to defend this point. Maybe this is a point we want to play around with. And I think that helps the flow of the game, because in the past, Firestorm was just, it was a map that you saw a lot of the Battlefield funny videos on, with people running around with C4 buggies, blowing stuff up, trolling people, trolling snipers. Now it's actually a map that I think plays a lot better. It's not just that wide open map where you can, goof around in. But that being said, it's still a map that you can get away with goofing around on, and that's something we don't have a lot of on Battlefield 4, the vanilla map. So I'm kind of excited to see Firestorm make it. It was probably the one I was least excited for when they announced it. They're like, okay, so the 4 maps are Caspian, Firestorm, Metro, and Gulf of Oman, and I was like, Firestorm, really? But once I got in there and actually played it, I was like, wow, this was actually a good choice. I was actually surprised at what a good choice this was. So if you've had a chance to play it on Xbox One, let me know your initial impressions of this map. Do you like playing it? Because I actually personally have enjoyed it. I mean, here's some of the medical tents right here I was talking about. I mean, this is an interesting capture point now, as opposed to before. It was just this dry, barren thing with like a couple transport trailer things that you could go into, like the medic trailers like what I'm in right now, and there wasn't really a whole lot to it. Now there's some downed helicopters. You can definitely tell that something went on here a few years ago. There's a lot of oil pipelines breaking. There's fire going on in the background. So overall, I think Firestorm is probably the most improved map out of the second Assault DLC. Some people might disagree with that. That's just my personal opinion because I did not like it in Battlefield 3. I thought it was boring. It was just a bland map. Now it actually has some character. It actually feels like probably the way they wanted it to feel, and I think that kind of plays into the next-gen consoles because the next-gen consoles, or I guess technically it's the current gen now. I know a lot of people did point that out, but you know, the Xbox One, PS4, now they can actually handle it, so I think they've stepped it up in the way they've made these maps look. So you know, I gotta give this map props for being a skeptic when it came to Firestorm. It actually really surprised me with what a good job they did with it. So like I said, if you've played it, let me know what you think about it so far, because this was the one that surprised me the most. And if you missed my past videos, here's a chance to catch up. I actually did a review on the Xbox One version of Battlefield 4. If you haven't seen that, I highly suggest you check that one out. And before that, we actually did a Battlefield 4 showdown that you might have missed, so check that one out too. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace.